But now the question is Jay-Z involved in crazier things? And people are pointing their attention towards 50 Cent, wanting him to do a Jay-Z documentary.
Shocking footage of Jay-Z at what looks like one of those secret ritual parties just got leaked by 50 Cent, and it's shaking everything up. The whole internet's buzzing. And now the talk isn't just about drama. It's about Jay-Z possibly facing some serious sentencing. Everyone knew 50 would come for him eventually, but nobody saw it getting this wild. So what went down? Let's dive in. On December 8th, 2024, a brand new civil complaint dropped, naming Jay-Z as a defendant in a disturbing case. The plaintiff, using the name Jane Doe to protect her identity, accused him of assaulting her when she was just 13. According to her, it all happened right after the MTV Video Music Awards on September 7th, 2000. The case got filed under New York's Gender-Motivated Violence Protection Act, a special law that temporarily allowed older claims to be brought forward. But Jay-Z's lawyers hit back quick. They argued the law wasn't even active when the supposed incident happened, pointing out that it didn't take effect until December 2000. So they asked, how could anyone apply it to something from September? Jay-Z wasn't about to let this slide. His legal team, led by powerhouse attorney Alex Spiro, came out swinging and denied every accusation. They called the claims heinous, frivolous, and straight up labeled the case a blackmail attempt. But what really turned heads wasn't just the denial. It was the bold tone of the statement itself that had everyone talking.
There's an accusation about Jay-Z and Diddy and a teenager, 13-year-old teenager.
Right.
And we were speaking about just the statement.
Right.
The statement, you were saying you felt like that was calculated.
That was, that the statement is something from, you can tell it's written by a lawyer. Because there's a point where it kind of gets aggressive. He says, you're going to find out, like how I'll handle this. And that's an attorney want to be combative with another attorney.
This statement didn't sound like some polished corporate PR piece. It felt raw, like HOV himself grabbed the mic and said, I'm not backing down. It came off like a man ready to defend his name, his legacy, and his family with everything he's got. From there, Jay-Z's defense team started tearing through the claims like wildfire. The accuser said that after escaping the alleged attack, she called her dad from a gas station, and he supposedly drove for hours to pick her up. But when investigators tracked him down, he straight up said he had zero memory of any of that. He told them if something like that had happened, there's no way he'd forget. No question about it. Then, more cracks started showing in her story. She mentioned that the afterparty took place at some private mansion, but evidence showed otherwise. Photos and official records confirmed that the real afterparties that night were happening at well-known NYC clubs, Twirl and Lotus. The timeline, the locations, none of it matched up. And that's when things really started falling apart. To make it even messier, she claimed she chatted with Benji Madden from Good Charlotte that same night. But his reps came out confirming that both Madden brothers were out in the Midwest on tour. They weren't even near the VMAs. Eventually, the plaintiff herself admitted in interviews that not all the facts are clear, and that she might have made some mistakes remembering things. The whole story started looking shaky, and people couldn't stop talking about it.
A huge victory for Jay-Z and Diddy, actually, as a lawsuit has been dropped against them. This was a lawsuit that got a lot of headlines because you remember this was filed back in December. The accuser said she was just 13 at the time that, as she put it, Diddy and Jay-Z raped her at a VMA after party back in 2000. Well, that lawsuit is no more.
She said the mix-ups came from trauma and the fact that over 20 years had passed, but even with all that, she refused to back off her main accusation. Then, out of nowhere, on February 14th, 2025, Valentine's Day of all days, her lawyers filed a notice of voluntary dismissal with prejudice in federal court in Manhattan. That's legal talk for it's done for good. The case was officially over. No chance to bring it back, no deal, no payout, nothing. Her legal team later claimed she pulled back because she was scared of retaliation, but the court filing didn't list any official reason. After every hole in her story got picked apart, she just walked away from the whole situation. No settlement, no hush money, no nothing. She simply disappeared from the case, and that was that. Meanwhile, Hobbs Camp and Rock Nation were celebrating hard. They made it crystal clear. No money changed hands, no side deals, and in their words, the lawsuit should never have been filed in the first place. They stood firm that this was all about clearing Jay-Z's name. Jay-Z himself finally broke his silence, saying he was relieved it was over, but you could feel the frustration in his words. He said his family went through a lot and made it clear he wasn't about to just forgive or forget what went down. The case was officially done, dead in Jay-Z's favor. No criminal charges ever came his way since the accusations were civil only and the statute of limitations for any criminal case had already expired years ago. But Hav wasn't the type to just take a win and walk off quietly. He wanted all the smoke. He turned his attention straight toward Tony Buzbee, the lawyer behind the case, accusing him of running what Jay-Z called a full-blown shakedown operation. Jay-Z said loud and clear that the system needed real change to protect true victims, while also protecting innocent people from having their reputations dragged through the dirt with false claims. And just when people thought the drama was done, Jay-Z made his next bold move. He went after Buzbee in court himself. After the lawsuit got tossed out in February 2025, Jay-Z didn't just take the victory and move on. Nah, he flipped the script completely. He filed his own case, going full attack mode against both the accuser and her lawyer, claiming the whole thing was a setup. According to Jay-Z's side, it was nothing but an extortion play, an organized scheme to squeeze him for cash. He wasn't about to let that slide. This wasn't a man trying to quietly clean up his image. This was a billionaire mogul sending a warning shot to anyone thinking they could play with his name. You come at the king, you best not miss. And Jay-Z proved that line to the fullest. His countersuit strategy wasn't some emotional reaction. It was a cold, calculated move that hit from every angle imaginable. The main lawsuit was filed out in California, straight against Tony Buzbee himself, while another one dropped in Alabama, targeting both Buzbee and Jane Doe directly. The California case, officially titled Sean Carter versus the Buzbee law firm et al., landed in Los Angeles Superior Court back in November 2024. And get this was before the amended civil complaint against Jay-Z even went public.
She voluntarily filed to dismiss it today without prejudice, filed those documents in federal court, and that means without prejudice. That part means that it cannot be refiled. There was no settlement here. This was her going in and dropping the case.
It all kicked off right after Buzbee sent those so-called pre-litigation demand letters accusing Jay-Z of sexual assault. Hav's team saw it coming from a mile away. They were locked and loaded to strike back the second things went public. Jay-Z's complaint laid it all out. He accused Buzbee of extortion, defamation, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. The core of it centered on two demand letters Buzbee sent in early November 2024. One letter came in anonymously, and the other listed the accuser by name. Both letters allegedly threatened to blast Jay-Z's name across the media unless he agreed to mediation and coughed up a massive settlement. Jay-Z's team said that was straight-up textbook extortion. Basically, pay up or we destroy your name with lies. And Jay-Z wasn't stopping there. His lawsuit also hit Buzbee for defamation over 6 specific statements the lawyer made to the press, implying that Jay-Z was involved in something as serious as assault without providing a shred of proof. Hav's side argued Buzbee knew the claims were fake but ran with them anyway, acting with actual malice. The damages Jay-Z was after were no joke. He claimed the drama cost Roc Nation over $20 million in lost business deals and sponsorships because of how badly it hit his reputation. This was more than just a counterattack. It was a full-on power move from a man making it clear. Nobody messes with his name and walks away untouched. Jay-Z didn't just want justice, he wanted payback. He went after punitive damages too, plus a court order to shut Buzbee down from ever running his mouth again. Hav didn't mince words. He called the original lawsuit an evil conspiracy fueled by greed. He spoke on how deeply it hurt his family, saying even Beyonce and the kids had to live through this madness in the public eye. It wasn't just about his name anymore, it was personal. But Buzbee wasn't backing off either. He clapped back with an anti-slap motion. That's a California law meant to protect people's free speech and quickly toss out weak lawsuits. His defense: those demand letters were just normal pre-litigation moves, fully protected under the law. He argued that his public statements were either opinions or basically true, claiming there was no bad intent, no malice, just legal business as usual. Then the legal fight exploded. Multiple hearings went down, new evidence kept dropping, and things started getting real messy. But one piece of evidence hit harder than anything else. A recorded phone conversation allegedly showing Jane Doe admitting that Buzbee pushed her to use Jay-Z's name because it would mean a bigger payout. She reportedly said, "Jay had nothing to do with any assault." That recording became the centerpiece of Jay-Z's argument, proof that the entire situation was cooked up from the start. Still, despite all that, on July 1st, 2025, LA County Superior Court Judge Mark H. Epstein dropped a massive 65-page ruling that flipped everything.
As you might imagine, Jay-Z is thrilled with the victory, but is also really pissed he even had to go through this. He gave us a statement saying that the fictional tale they created was laughable, if not for the seriousness of the claims. "I would not wish this experience on anyone. The trauma that my wife, my children, my loved ones, and I have endured can never be dismissed."
The judge granted Busby's anti-slap motion and completely tossed Jay-Z's case out. Judge Epstein explained that sending settlement demand letters before a lawsuit doesn't legally count as extortion under California law. He wrote that selling silence for money in a civil dispute isn't extortion. It's considered a settlement with a confidentiality clause. And when it came to defamation, the judge said there wasn't enough proof of actual malice, which is the key thing a public figure like Jay-Z has to prove to win that kind of case. It was a shocking turn of events that left everyone stunned. The judge pointed out that 4 of the statements Busby made were so vague, they didn't even name Jay-Z directly. The rest, he said, didn't prove that Busby knowingly lied, and that's a tough standard to meet. Jay-Z's team tried hard, but they just couldn't clear that high bar. Judge Epstein even admitted he wasn't completely satisfied with the outcome. He said the ruling might have gone differently if that recorded phone call with Jane Doe could have been used in court without questions about how it was obtained. Still, when the dust settled, the First Amendment protections won. Busby celebrated the win like he'd just taken down a giant. He even said he was coming for attorney's fees from Jay-Z next. Meanwhile, Hobbs' camp wasn't backing down for a second. They announced they were filing an immediate appeal, claiming the judge overlooked evidence that proved the accusations were flat out made up. The war wasn't over. It just moved up to a higher battlefield.
Remember, Tony Busby was the lawyer who filed this lawsuit for the plaintiff, who filed anonymously. He is the guy who's filed dozens at this point of cases against Diddy. And Jay-Z had a shot for him, saying this 1-800 lawyer gets to file a suit hiding behind Jane Doe. And when they quickly realize that the money grab is going to fail, they get to walk away with no repercussions. The system has failed.
And Jay-Z wasn't putting all his energy into one court either. Back in March 2025, another lawsuit was filed in Alabama federal court, Jane Doe's home state. This one went straight after her, Busby and his co-counsel David Fort, accusing them all of conspiracy and extortion. Jay-Z's team claimed Jane Doe told investigators that her accusations were false and that the entire thing had been twisted from the start. By the end of 2025, the Alabama case was still active. No final judgment yet, but plenty of motions to dismiss flying around. Legal experts said Jay-Z's strategy was crystal clear. Make them fight on multiple fronts until they run out of steam. These countersuits showed just how tangled, strategic, and intense high-profile celebrity cases can get, especially when anti-slap laws end up protecting the very attorneys being accused. The fight was far from finished, and everyone was watching to see who'd blink first. The whole situation opened up major debates, like how far can someone really go to defend their name when they're being accused of something they swear they didn't do? And what happens when that person's got the power, money, and influence to fight back with everything they've got? It's a whole different battlefield when the accused isn't just anybody. It's Jay-Z. While the legal chaos was unfolding inside courtrooms, 50 Cent was out here doing what 50 Cent does best, turning the internet into his personal arena. With over 30 million followers watching his every post, 50 had the perfect stage to stir the pot, throw shade, and keep Jay-Z's situation trending nonstop. And believe this, he had plenty to say.
I wasn't in the ad because of look, Jay-Z and them was putting it together.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they still harbor some energy towards me.
You think you were purposely left out of the ad?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't think. I think that they were saying the NFL has some issues with me that I don't know what those issues are. Like what is the issue? You see what I'm saying?
His trolling hit its peak in December 2024, right when the amended lawsuit officially named Jay-Z. On December 10th, 50 dropped a wild deepfake video, an AI-generated clip showing Jay-Z getting arrested in handcuffs right after walking off stage at an awards show. The clip blew up instantly, and 50's caption, "I'm afraid for my life." It was pure chaos online. Then came another moment that had everyone talking. When Jay-Z showed up to the Mufasa, the Lion King premiere that same month, walking the red carpet with Beyonce and the kids, trying to show a united front. 50 couldn't resist clowning the moment. He posted, "Jay said, they said IRA, a kid. Everybody get dressed. We going to see Mufasa." The internet went wild again. But here's the thing. This beef didn't just start yesterday. Nah, 50 and Hov's tension runs deep. We're talking over 2 decades of shade, competition, and sneak disses that never really cooled off. It all started way back in 1999 when 50 was still grinding for recognition. He dropped his now legendary track, "How to Rob," where he joked about robbing every major name in hip-hop, including Jay-Z himself. One of the lines said, "I'll rob Jay-Z, take his Rolex and his diamonds." That line might have sounded playful, but it lit a spark that turned into a rivalry lasting years.
Like, and I with M, because like with Nori was, he had communication. He said, "Yeah, that's why I talked to the big homie. You saying, told Jay, he was telling me, you know, the white boy wouldn't do the truth without 50."
And now, with the lawsuit drama and leaked footage stirring the pot again, 50's using every chance he gets to poke at Jay-Z, all while keeping millions entertained in the process. Tell him it's a new game, many get in line. That was 50 Cent back in his hungry days, spitting bars with that signature battle rap energy, trying to make everyone in the industry pay attention. It was pure shock value, the kind of move only 50 would pull. But Jay-Z, he didn't take it lightly, not at all. At the time, Jay-Z was sitting at the top of the rap mountain, dropping heat like Volume 3, Life and Times of S. Carter. So when he heard 50's line, he decided to clap back on his 2000 track, "It's Hot, Some Like It Hot," throwing slick shots at all the new rappers trying to bite his flow. The tension between the two was born right there, and it never fully died. Over the years, the rivalry just kept simmering. 50 even linked up with Nas during the infamous Nas versus Jay-Z beef between 2001 and 2005. That legendary feud eventually cooled off when Jay-Z brought Nas out on stage at his I Declare War concert, turning a long-standing rivalry into an iconic peace moment with a handshake and a joint performance. But while Jay and Nas buried the hatchet, 50 and Hov, that tension stayed alive. By the 2020s, 50 was still throwing shots every chance he got, usually through social media, his favorite battleground.
And I'm like, that's when I start saying crazy stuff, because I look and I go, "Oh, that shit big homie."
But what really reignited the flames recently was the whole Super Bowl halftime show situation. When Dr. Dre assembled that all-star lineup for the iconic performance, Eminem personally pushed for 50 Cent to be part of it. According to 50, Jay-Z, whose Rock Nation helps produce the NFL's halftime shows, wasn't exactly thrilled about that idea. The behind-the-scenes drama got exposed when NORE from Drink Champs spilled the tea about what went down. Turns out, Eminem had to stand his ground hard, telling organizers straight up that he wasn't doing the show unless 50 was included. That move didn't just secure 50's spot, it reignited one of hip-hop's longest-running rivalries right on the biggest stage in the world. For 50 Cent, this whole thing runs way deeper than just rap competition. It's about power. In his eyes, once someone starts using their business connections to block another person's opportunities, that's not just beef anymore, that's personal. And when it comes to Jay-Z, 50's been holding that grudge for a long time. That history explains exactly why 50 was so quick to jump in when Jay-Z's legal troubles hit in 2024 and 2025. Those allegations gave him the perfect moment to take shots at his old rival, right when Hov looked most vulnerable. To 50, this wasn't just trolling. It was payback that had been brewing for over 2 decades. His posts, memes, and jokes were just the newest chapter in a 20-year saga of back and forth, only now it was playing out in front of millions, live and unfiltered on social media. But there was another layer to it all, the documentary question. Every one of 50's comments, posts, and jabs seemed to be tied to his big Netflix documentary project, The Reckoning. The series got announced in 2024, with 50 Cent listed as executive producer alongside director Alexandria Stapleton. Fans immediately started speculating.
It's your and Jay's issue.
It's just competitive stuff.
It's really just competitive.
This is what I'm saying. When it gets past
actual art, like actual music, and you're trying to block something that's in business, then it feels weird. It feels like we should be having beef.
Was 50 about to drop exclusive dirt on Jay-Z in the series? He kept teasing behind-the-scenes clips and cryptic hints online, keeping everyone guessing. Then things really exploded when he posted a cartoonish drawing mocking Jay-Z's look on Instagram. It spread everywhere. In the comments, one fan straight up asked if Jay-Z was next on 50's hit list, and 50 didn't say a word. He just liked the comment. That one little tap sent the internet into a total frenzy. Suddenly, everyone was convinced 50 had something massive in the works, and people couldn't stop asking the same question. Was Jay-Z about to get exposed on Netflix? The suspense was wild. People couldn't help but notice the timing of 50 Cent's documentary release. It dropped on December 2nd, just 2 days before Jay-Z's birthday on December 4th. That timing had the internet convinced it was no coincidence. Fans were whispering that 50 did it on purpose. A little subliminal jab meant to hit right where it hurt. And remember that whole Super Bowl controversy? Yeah, that only made the tension louder. If it was really true that Jay-Z tried to keep 50 off that halftime stage, then folks figured this documentary might have been 50's big way to clap back.
There's also something that's very interesting that went over a lot of people's heads, and that's the documentary coming out on December 2nd. That Diddy documentary coming out on that date. Literally 2 days later, you have Jay-Z's birthday, December 4th, which to me sends a subliminal message to Jay-Z that you're next. So that's crazy. That just, to me, shows that 50 is potentially gonna work on something going at Jay-Z.
For real this time, the narrative sounded too juicy not to believe. The business mogul versus the ultimate troll, back at it again. But when The Reckoning finally premiered on Netflix in late 2025, everyone was stunned. Jay-Z's name never came up once. After all that teasing, trolling, and speculation, Hav was completely left out of the final cut. No mentions, no hints, nothing. Fans were confused, expecting major fireworks, but instead, the documentary focused on completely different stories. In a March 2025 interview on Club Shay Shay, 50 Cent cleared the air. He said, "It's focused on the victims. Jay ain't in it because there ain't nothing there to put in." That line said it all. From a legal perspective, it made perfect sense. By the time production wrapped in mid-2025, there wasn't a single piece of credible evidence connecting Jay-Z to anything criminal. Including unverified claims just for drama would have been risky business, especially since 50 had just watched Jay-Z crush a defamation suit in court. He knew Hav wasn't someone to play with legally. So instead of walking into another battle, 50 kept his project clean and focused. But the timing, the hints, and the shade, those were enough to keep everyone talking for weeks. The question of whether 50 Cent might drop a full-on Jay-Z documentary in the future still hangs in the air. But right now, it's all talk. Without any real accusers stepping forward or solid evidence that could actually stand up in court, there's just nothing for him to build on. You can't make a whole doc out of speculation, no matter how wild the rumors sound. Still, The Reckoning ended up doing big numbers on Netflix. Critics gave it props for how sharp and well-produced it was, but it didn't deliver any of the Jay-Z bombshells that 50 had been teasing all over social media. Those online antics, the memes, the jokes, the sly captions, they kept people watching and talking, but they were mostly just part of 50's marketing game. He knows how to stir the pot without crossing that legal line. And that's the key difference. There's a huge gap between trolling on Instagram and making accusations that could hold up under oath.
The question here is, will there be a lot of people that come forward to be a part of the Jay-Z documentary with actual facts and information? I think 50's not going to work on it unless there is like massive lawsuits that start to come, and the topic is brought more to light where a lot more people are paying attention to it, because right now there is just a lot of speculation. Besides Nicki Minaj, I mean, there are people here and there that say things about Jay-Z, but a lot of them don't have solid proof, right?
50 knows the rules of that game, and after seeing how hard Jay-Z fights back in court, he's not about to play recklessly. Whether that changes in the future depends on if any credible accusers or hard evidence ever come forward. But as of late 2025, there's nothing. Through all the noise, Jay-Z's empire never wobbled. His businesses stayed strong, his family stayed tight, and his reputation, at least legally, came out untouched. By 2025, Jay-Z's empire was still shining brighter than ever. His net worth, estimated between $2.5 and $2.6 billion, didn't take a single real hit from the chaos. Most of that wealth came from his massive stakes in Armand de Brignac Champagne, Douce Cognac, Roc Nation, and smart investments through Marcy Venture Partners. Every move he made over the years kept paying off big time.
And I think there will be something coming because there's a lot of stuff brewing online when it comes to Jay-Z, and it's only a matter of time before, somebody comes out and says, hey, this guy did this guy did that to me. I don't know. I'm not saying he did or did not, but we'll see what happens down the line.
Even with all the controversy swirling, none of his major partnerships fell apart. No brands cut ties, no big contracts got canceled, nothing. Roc Nation kept all its heavyweight deals rolling, including that massive Super Bowl halftime show partnership with the NFL. That multi-year agreement, which kicked off back in 2019, stayed completely solid. Even while the internet was blowing up with people calling for the NFL to walk away after the allegations dropped. But the league didn't budge. The NFL stood firmly behind Roc Nation, keeping the partnership rolling straight into the 2025 to 2026 season like nothing had changed. When the lawsuit first became public, everyone was waiting to see whether the NFL would try to distance itself from Hov. But that bond was too valuable to break. Both sides had too much on the line, too much history, and too much business tied together to let go that easily. Commissioner Roger Goodell even spoke on it during press conferences, saying the league makes its choices based on facts, not speculation. And with the civil case dismissed by February 2025 and 0 criminal charges ever filed, there was no reason for the NFL to back away. The message was clear. Jay-Z's brand was untouchable, his business unshaken, and his seat at the top of the industry still locked in place. Even with all that noise surrounding his name, Jay-Z's luxury empire didn't skip a beat. Sales of Armand de Brignac Champagne and Douce Cognac stayed sky high. No dips, no slowdowns, nothing tied to the controversy.
I don't know what's going on, but are we still going to have the Super Bowl? I'm just asking for a friend.
Yeah, I'm asking for Kendrick. I'm just trying to figure out if we're still doing everything the way. Because look, they will fall back, but the NFL, they won't necessarily be associated to that.
Those premium bottles kept flying off shelves like usual. His other ventures were just as strong. Jay-Z's casino development bids in New York, projects involving Roc Nation and multiple high-profile coalitions, kept pushing forward with no interruptions. His investments in heavy hitters like Uber and major real estate properties stayed solid too. Thanks to his diversified portfolio and long-term contracts, Hov was fully shielded from any serious financial damage. Industry analysts pointed to a few key reasons why the chaos didn't touch his bag: his rapid legal counterattack, the quick dismissal of the lawsuit, and his spotless track record as a businessman. Jay-Z's empire wasn't built overnight, and he's known for moving strategically. So this situation barely left a scratch on his bottom line. But while the money stayed safe, the emotional toll hit closer to home. The accusations had an impact on Beyonce and their 3 kids, Blue Ivy, and twins Rumi and Sir. The family kept things quiet during the storm, staying out of the spotlight while the drama played out, though Beyonce never stopped grinding. Her Cowboy Carter album dropped in March 2024, and it went crazy. Critics loved it, and the numbers were through the roof. Tabloids started throwing around rumors about canceled shows and delayed tours, but none of that was ever confirmed. In fact, Beyonce made a strong statement of her own that December when she stepped out with Jay-Z and Blue Ivy at the Mufasa, the Lion King premiere. The entire family posed together on the red carpet, smiling like a united front. It was their way of saying, "We're good, no matter what." In his defamation countersuit filings, Jay-Z talked openly about the emotional stress the accusations caused his wife and kids. He said the false claims weren't just attacks on him, they were attacks on his entire family. Roc Nation's official statement after the dismissal even mentioned how deeply it affected Blue Ivy, Rumi, and Sir. Meanwhile, gossip blogs kept pushing marriage trouble rumors, pointing to fewer joint appearances and speculating that Beyonce might address the situation in her music again. But the Carters stayed focused, proving that no scandal, real or fabricated, could shake their bond or their empire. Just like when Lemonade dropped years ago, rumors started swirling again, but this time, no credible sources ever confirmed any real problems between Jay-Z and Beyonce beyond the usual stress that comes with dealing with something this public and messy. Despite the noise, they kept moving as a unit, working side by side through Parkwood Entertainment and Roc Nation, keeping both their business and creative worlds thriving. Jay-Z handled his public image like a master strategist throughout the entire ordeal. He played it calm but calculated, issuing a categorical denial, launching aggressive legal action, protecting his family, and then slowly easing back into the spotlight at his own pace. Every move seemed intentional, like a game of chess he knew he'd win. From day one, he made a point to avoid messy media back and forths. When the amended complaint dropped naming him directly, he came out swinging with a powerful statement through Roc Nation's official X, formerly Twitter account. He called the accusations heinous in nature and said, "I implore you to bear with me as I work to protect my family from this vicious attack." He didn't sugarcoat it either. He straight up labeled the lawsuit as blackmail and made it clear he was fighting this battle in the courtroom, not in the court of public opinion. His media strategy was airtight: stay quiet, move smart, and only speak through trusted, controlled channels. Roc Nation dropped official updates after every major legal win, including a bold post celebrating the February 2025 dismissal as a victory for truth. Jay-Z kept his public appearances limited but powerful, always polished, never defensive, and never addressing the allegations directly. That silence wasn't weakness, it was control. It let Hov steer the narrative on his own terms, keeping the spotlight exactly where he wanted it while the rest of the world kept guessing. It worked, big time. After the lawsuit's dismissal, Jay-Z's image didn't just recover, it soared. By mid-2025, both Forbes and Bloomberg were dropping major features on him, spotlighting his billionaire status and painting the entire ordeal as a baseless smear campaign that he crushed through pure legal power and precision. By the end of 2025, the conversation had completely flipped. The headlines weren't about controversy anymore. They were about Hov's legacy, his groundbreaking business moves, and his tight-knit family life. What was once chaos turned into just another challenge he conquered, another chapter proving that Jay-Z doesn't fold under pressure. He rises from it stronger than ever. And the facts back it up. Jay-Z was never sentenced. The civil lawsuit was dismissed with prejudice, meaning it's permanently over. No criminal charges were ever filed, and his empire, still bulletproof. His family stood tall beside him, and his reputation came out cleaner than before. The courts ruled in his favor, and his counterattack against the people he claims tried to frame him, still rolling strong. This whole saga showed one thing loud and clear: you can't cancel what's built on truth and power. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to like, subscribe, share, and drop a comment below. Let's talk about what you think really went down.